Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Tempest, and today we get to hear from Prospero in Act 1, Scene 2. So Act 1, Scene 1 was a huge shipwreck, and on the ship were Alonso and Sebastian and Gonzalo and Alonso and all sorts of Antonio, all sorts of people like that. They were all shipwrecked. And at the start of Act 1, Scene 2, we are on an island with Miranda and Prospero. Miranda is the daughter of Prospero. And Miranda is like mortified by what she just saw. And she's like, Dad, if you did that, I'm very upset because it was very upsetting to watch that ship get pulled apart and all of the people on it like died. They had to have died. And Prospero's like, no. Nobody, it's fine. There was no harm done. And she's like, what are you talking about? And Prospero's like, well, there's a lot that you don't know about who you are and where you come from. And she's like, yeah, there's some gaps there, but I never really thought to ask about them because apparently now's the time for the exposition. And Prospero says, "'Tis time I should inform thee farther. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. So, lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered, that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair betid to any creature in the vessel, which thou heardst cry, which thou saw'st sink. Sit down, for thou must now know farther." So when he's talking about his art, the first time that he mentions his art, he means like his cloak. And then the second time that he mentions his art, he's talking about his magic, because Prospero does magic. And here he admits that yes, he conjured up the storm that wrecked that ship, but he was so careful about it that nobody on the ship was injured. And he's like, have a seat. There's a story that I got to tell you. And Miranda's like, tell me more. Did you really wreck the boat? Kind of a thing. And there's a little bit of back and forth here. There's not a lot before we get to tomorrow's monologue, but Prospero's like, so, do you remember anything from before we lived on this island? Because you were only like 3 when that happened. And she's like, yeah, I remember. Didn't I used to have like some servants or something? And Prospero's like, yeah, you did, because I used to be the Duke of Milan. And she's like, oh my goodness, I never even, what? This is news. He had to get the exposition out somehow. And tomorrow we're going to hear more exposition from the former Duke of Milan, Prospero, as to how they wound up on this island and when they wound up there, so we know exactly how old Miranda is and all that sort of fun stuff. But anyway, we'll get into that tomorrow. I'll see you then for that. Mwah.